What's up everyone, we're going to be going to the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from the other day's picks as we didn't have WNBA yesterday for my exclusive Discord group, and we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 22 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $440 just yesterday, and another member who won $375 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, a link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Christopher Penrose J5N who said my guide, spammed up the emojis, and shouts out to Nikki V Edits who said thanks bro, good luck. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you could be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to win about is none other than Kamilla Cardoso, and this one is for 13.5 points, and this one is for less. Now looking at Kamilla, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, which is interesting to see. Now obviously looking at those 5 games, we did see on August 4th faced off against Phoenix, had 12 points there. Then August 6th faced off against Washington, had 16 points in that matchup. Then August 8th faced off against Atlanta, had 12 points there. Then August 10th against Indiana, had 6 points. And then August 14th faced off against Connecticut Sun and had 24 points in that matchup. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, we have seen Kamilla Cardoso actually go on the under quite consistently. She has actually gone on the under in 3 out of the last 5. And on top of that, her average over the last 5 is also 14. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, obviously, looking at Kamilla and also their matchup, they do face off against, Golden State Valkyries. Kamilla does play for Chicago, so it is going to be, an interesting battle there. But looking at where both of these teams do actually rank, it is pretty interesting to see. But starting off with Chicago Sky, we actually have seen Chicago Sky, struggle a little bit as they come in the 12th spot in the WNBA. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for them there. Now, obviously, looking at their matchup, we do know, Chicago Sky not only ranked 12th in the WNBA, but they also rank 5th in the actual Eastern Conference. So it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Now, looking at, their record, they have a record of 8 wins and 24 losses. That's a 25% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-11 from home, 3-13 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it is pretty tough to see there. Now, obviously, coming into this matchup, we do know Golden State Valkyries do a little bit better as they come in at the 7th spot in the actual WNBA. Now, they actually have a record of 17 wins and 15 losses. But on top of that, not only do they rank 7th in the WNBA, but they also rank 4th in the Western Conference. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, they actually have themselves a matchup that is going to be really exciting. Now, Valkyries do also have a record, like I mentioned, of 17 and 15. But when we look at their record when it comes to home games, they actually have a record of 10 and 5. And then for away, have 7 and 10. So 53.1% win percentage. They are also currently on a 3-game win streak as well. So it has been looking pretty good for Golden State Valkyries as of recent. And it also looks a little bit better because what we also do see is when we look at the Valkyries defensively, we do know Golden State Valkyries do actually rank 2nd when it comes to points allowed. So, Valkyries are a fantastic defensive team, and they definitely have shown it time and time again why they are a great defensive team. And it definitely does showcase, what they are capable of doing. But because of that, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Another big reason for this is that Kamilla has also really struggled in the points department as of lately. It hasn't really been going too well for her as we have hoped for. We definitely haven't really seen her put together, a kind of a lot of points as of lately. She had a big game against Connecticut Sun, but that was against Connecticut Sun. Obviously, Connecticut aren't the greatest team defensively, and we have definitely just seen her struggle when it comes to usage rate in general. So with that mixed with Golden State Valkyries ranking second when it comes to points allowed, we definitely do like the under for this situation here. Now looking at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have our favor for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Kamilla Cardoso, 13.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Sonia Citron. Now as you all know, Sonia, great player for Washington Mystics. This one is another points one, but for 16.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Sonia, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, this has been a pretty decent game. We did see on August 4th, faced off against Atlanta Dream, actually had 16 points there. Then August 6th, faced off against Chicago, had 13 points in that matchup. After that, August 9th faced off against Minnesota Lynx, had 26 points, then 18 points against Dallas on August 11th, and then 15 points against Golden State Valkyries on August 14th. So it is pretty interesting to see how they have done so far. Now, obviously, looking at this matchup, we do know Washington Mystics and Sonia Citron do actually face off against Indiana Fever. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, as both teams have definitely played, pretty well so far this season. Now, obviously, looking or starting off with Washington Mystics, we have seen Washington Mystics do a pretty decent job, as they do actually come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA. Now, not only that, but they also do rank 10th in the WNBA, but 4th in the Eastern Conference. And they have a record of 14 wins and actually 18 losses. So it's pretty interesting to see there. Now, obviously, looking at their home record, they have a home record of 9-7, away record of 5-11, and also a 1-game losing streak. And they face off against Indiana Fever, where Indiana Fever do rank 6th in the WNBA, but also rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference. So there is somewhat of similarities between them two, in a sense that they are only one slot or one ranking away from each other in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, overall, a little bit different, but definitely seeing that is still definitely interesting to see when it comes to both of these teams. Now, Indiana Fever do have a record of 18 wins and 15 losses, 54.5% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 10-7 from home, 8-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's been an interesting season for Indiana Fever. They have played, quite a lot of the season without actually, without Caitlin Clark. Now, that definitely has been tough, but when we also look at their defense out there, we have seen something pretty interesting, because we do know Indiana Fever defensively, when it comes to points allowed, they do actually rank 8th. So they rank, pretty low. So why do we like the under for this situation here? Now, a big reason is that when we look on a per position basis, we actually see a very, very different story. We do see when it comes to Sonia, also she is a guard, and Indiana Fever actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position, and then definitely shown that time and time again. On top of that, Sonia Citron's also usage rate hasn't really been the best. She's missed quite a lot of games. As I mentioned, 3 out of the last 5 have actually been on the under, and we definitely see that being a big thing once again coming into this matchup. Now, Sonia did have one big game, which was against Minnesota, where she had 26 points. I do believe that matchup, brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's actually a lot more value actually to go on the under. So for that reason, I definitely do very much like the under for a situation like this for Sonia. When we look at what the bookies are saying as well, bookies also are favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Sonia Citron, 16.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than actually Ariel Atkins. So Ariel Atkins, another great player for none other than Chicago. And this one is a fantastic one for 11.5 points. And this one is for less. Now looking at Ariel Atkins, we have actually seen Ariel go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now this one's an interesting one because we do see or have seen that Ariel Atkins not only ranks, pretty well when it comes to her usage rate for this team, but we have seen as of lately, her usage rate has definitely fallen as she has gone on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see on July 15th, faced off against Minnesota, had 2 points there. Then August 6th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 15 points. Then 8 points against Atlanta on August 8th, 8 points against Indiana Fever on August 10th, and then August 14th, faced off against Connecticut Sun and actually had 5 points there. So it was pretty interesting to see. Now, obviously, Ariel Atkins has, definitely struggled a little bit when it comes to points. And when it comes to Chicago, we do know they face off against Golden State Valkyries. Now, we did recently touch on them, but just to remind you all again, Chicago Sky do come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA, but not only that, they do also rank 5th in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 8 wins and 24 losses. That's a 25% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-11 from home, 3-13 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. And facing off against Golden State Valkyries, Valkyries do rank 7th in the WNBA. Now, they actually have a record of 17 wins and 15 losses, but on top of that, they are 10-5 at home, 7-10 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So Valkyries have definitely been playing pretty good. Now looking at this matchup, and we do know already, Golden State Valkyries rank very, very well when it comes to points. They do actually rank a second when it comes to points allowed, but on top of that, they also rank very high when it comes to restricting points to the guard position. That's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely are expecting someone like Ariel Atkins to go on the under due to that situation, and we definitely do like the under for this one. So looking at that, this one's just kind of a no-brainer to us. Ariel Atkins has definitely struggled and significantly struggled over the last couple of games. We have definitely seen her go on the under as well, especially against easier teams. So now that she faces off against a tougher matchup like Golden State Valkyries, it's definitely not going to be a good time for Ariel Atkins there. Now, our average over the last 5 is 7.6, so significantly below this line. So all signs really do point towards the under for this one. This one's, definitely one on our radar. So Ariel Atkins, 11.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Elizabeth Williams. So as you all know, Elizabeth Williams is a fantastic player for none other than Chicago Sky. And she has done a fantastic job so far this season because she's actually averaged 8.7 points, 5.2 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 0.7 steals. So we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now, when it comes to Elizabeth Williams and also Chicago Sky, we do know they have themselves a very interesting matchup against Golden State Valkyries. Now, looking at both of these teams and where both of these teams do rank, we do know Chicago Sky have kind of been on the short end of the stick because they find themselves at the 12th spot in the WNBA. So it's definitely been a bit tough for them there. They not only rank 12th in the WNBA, but they also do rank 5th in the Eastern Conference out of 6 teams as well. And they have a record of 8 wins and 24 losses. So that's a 25% win percentage as well. They are 5-11 from home, 3-13 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it has definitely been a bit tough for Chicago Sky, unfortunately, and they do face off against Golden State Valkyries. Now, looking at a team like Golden State Valkyries, which is definitely going to be an exciting matchup, we do know when we look at Valkyries, they do come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, but they actually rank 4th in the Western Conference as well. They definitely have done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at their record, they have a record of 17 wins and actually 15 losses, so it's definitely been pretty decently for them. Now, they have a win percentage of 53.1%. Are 10-5 from home, 7-10 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So it's definitely been interesting to see. Obviously, both of these teams, are or have been trying their best to try to string along some wins. But looking at Golden State Valkyries defensively, we do know Golden State Valkyries do rank second when it comes to points allowed, third when it comes to assists allowed, and sixth when it comes to rebounds allowed. So Golden State Valkyries have definitely turned it up quite a bit on defense. They have actually done a fantastic job at restricting points and assists, but have recently really increased as well at restricting rebounds as well. And it definitely has shown as they come in at the sixth spot, which is pretty decent there. Now, for someone like Elizabeth Williams, we do actually like the under for this situation, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists. And a big reason being is not only do Golden State Valkyries actually do a fantastic job at restricting, points, rebounds, and assists, but they also do a fantastic job at restricting those three categories to the actual center position, which is what Elizabeth Williams is. So that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely are expecting the under for someone like Elizabeth Williams coming into this matchup. And when we also look at the matchup, we do also see that, Golden State Valkyries also do a pretty decent job at slowing down faster paced teams, which is what we are expecting. So less pace means less volume and less opportunity for Elizabeth Williams in total. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. Now, looking at, Elizabeth Williams and Chicago Sky, we actually do see over her last 5 games, she's had some pretty interesting matchups. We did see on the 4th against Phoenix Mercury, actually had an 83-67 loss with 15 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 6th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had a 78-64 win with 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists there. After that, on the 8th, faced off against Atlanta, had an 86-65 loss with 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist in that matchup. On the 10th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had a 92-70 loss with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 14th, faced off against Connecticut Sun and had 12 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, Elizabeth Williams has done a fantastic job at times, but other times hasn't really done too well there. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at this matchup as well, we do also see when it comes to Elizabeth Williams, as of lately, when she does face off against much tougher defensive teams, she's definitely done struggle. That's why we do like the under for this one. So definitely keep an eye out there. Now, getting into the next player, we're actually going to be talking about Rickea Jackson. So Rickea Jackson, great player as we all know. And when we look at Rickea Jackson, we have definitely seen her do a great job for Los Angeles Sparks so far this season, as she's actually averaged 14.2 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2 assists, and also 0.6 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there for Los Angeles Sparks, and Los Angeles Sparks find themselves with a very good matchup, which is none other than against actually Dallas Wings. So it is going to be an exciting game. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, we do know when we look at Los Angeles Sparks to start off with, Los Angeles Sparks have actually struggled quite a bit, unfortunately, because they find themselves actually in a position where they are 9th in the WNBA, but also ranked 6th in the Western Conference. So, on top of that, they also have a record of 15 wins and 17 losses, a 46.9% win percentage. They're also 6-10 from home, 9-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely been pretty interesting there. Now, obviously, they do have themselves a very good matchup against Dallas Wings. And looking at Dallas Wings, we do know when we look at their, where they actually do rank, they don't really rank too far, as they do actually rank 11th when it comes to the WNBA, and also rank last in the Western Conference. So, it is pretty interesting to see that Dallas Wings have definitely struggled. They come in and also have a record of 9 wins and 24 losses. That's a 27.3% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-12 from home, 4-12 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it's definitely been interesting to see there. Obviously, Dallas Wings and this matchup against Los Angeles Sparks is going to be an exciting one. But looking at where Dallas Wings do rank defensively, we do know Dallas Wings do come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA when it it comes to points allowed. On top of that, assists allowed, they do rank 13th, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 8th. So as you know, as we've seen, they do rank very, very poorly in all three categories, and that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. So we do very much like the over for this one. Now looking at someone like Rickea Jackson, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job as well over the last couple of games, and the fact that Dallas Wings just do a poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists, we definitely see someone like Rickea being able to take advantage of this and going on the over there. Now, for someone like Rickea Jackson, we also do see, looking into this matchup, we have seen her over the last 5 games. We saw against Indiana on the 6th, had a 191 win with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 8th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 102-91 win with 20 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists there. After that, on the 10th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 72-59 loss with 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 11th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had a 94-91 win with 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. And then on the 13th, faced off against New York Liberty, actually had a 105-97 loss with 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it's definitely been interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Rickea Jackson, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job at times, and especially against easier matchups, we have definitely seen her be able to take advantage of that. So coming into this next matchup, we do very much like the over for this one, and when we look at someone like Rickea Jackson, we should see her be able to exploit this and go on the over in this situation. So definitely keep an eye out for her line. I don't really think you need to focus on any, due to the fact that Rickea has a good usage rate in all 3 departments. So we do very much like the over for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out that for sure. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Sug Sutton. So Sug Sutton, great player as we all know for Washington Mystics, and she has done a fantastic job so far this season for Mystics, as she's actually averaged 7.5 points, 1.6 rebounds, 3.4 assists, and also 0.9 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, as we all know, looking at this matchup, it's definitely going to be an interesting one, because now we do also see they have themselves a very interesting matchup against Indiana Fever. So it is going to be an exciting game there. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Washington Mystics, we find Mystics come in at the overall at 10th spot in the WNBA. Now they have a record that's pretty decent of 14-18 losses. Now not only do they rank 10th in the WNBA, but they also rank 4th in the Eastern Conference, a 43.8% win percentage. They're also 9-7 from home, 5-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, as we've mentioned, they face off against Indiana Fever, and Indiana Fever find themselves in a 1 slot above them in their conference, as both are from the Eastern Conference. So they do actually rank 3rd in the Eastern Conference when it comes to Indiana Fever, but Indiana Fever do actually rank 6th in the overall WNBA. So a bit of discrepancy there when you look at all WNBA teams between Mystics and also Fever. Now, as we mentioned before, looking at their record, they have a record of 18 wins and 15 losses, as a 54.5% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 10-7 from home, 8-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So looking at Indiana Fever defensively, we have definitely seen them change a little bit when it comes to, their defensive sort of strategies, but it definitely has seen a bit of an effect. We actually do see Indiana Fever rank 8th when it comes to points allowed now. They did fall quite a little bit, as earlier on in the season they did pretty well, but they still do rank 2nd when it comes to assists allowed, and then also 4th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So Indiana Fever are still a fantastic team defensively when it comes to restricting rebounds and assists. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do actually like the under for this situation for someone like Sug Sutton. But the reason why we do like the under is only strictly for rebounds and assists. And a big reason being for that is due to the fact that when you look at actually, Sug Sutton and also her position, we also do see that, Washington Mystics and the matchup with Indiana Fever, Fever actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds and assists to the guard position. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under for someone like Sug. Now looking at Sug Sutton's last 5 games, we have seen her on the 4th face-off against Atlanta. Actually had a 99-83 loss there with 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. After that, on the 6th, faced off against Chicago, had a 78-64 loss with 8 points, 1 rebound, and 5 assists. Then on the 9th, faced off against Minnesota, had an 80-76 loss with 4 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists there. Then against Dallas, had 0 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists with a 91-78 win on the 11th against Wings. And then after that, on the 14th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries with an 88-83 loss with 15 points, 1 rebound, and 7 assists. So we have seen Sug, when it comes to her usage rate out there on the floor, it's definitely been a little bit unpredictable in a sense that there will be some games where she does very well, other games where she doesn't. But coming into a matchup like this where Indiana Fever do a fantastic job defensively in those, kind of brackets or in those categories, we definitely do very, very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at actually, Sug as well, what we also do see when it comes to Sug Sutton, we are just expecting the under, as she definitely has continued to struggle in rebounding and assists when it comes to her usage rate out there. There are other bigger players that have a bigger usage rate in those departments in this Mystics team, so that's why unfortunately in the matchup like this where Indiana do a great job defensively in those 2 categories, we are expecting her to probably take a big hit to her usage rate in rebounds and assists there. So keep an eye out for her under. As I've always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first, and if the line is too close to her averages, then definitely look to go on the under. And now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about NaLyssa Smith. So NaLyssa Smith, great player as we all know, has done a fantastic job for the Aces. And we've actually seen her average 7.2 points, 5.5 rebounds, 0.7 assists, and also 0.6 steals. So she's definitely done a great job there. Now coming into this matchup, we do also see when it comes to NaLyssa Smith, we have definitely seen the Aces do a pretty decent job, and now they find themselves with a very good matchup against actually, Phoenix Mercury. So it is going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, because looking at where both of these teams do rank, it's a lot closer than people may have expected. Now, starting off with Las Vegas Aces and NaLyssa Smith, we did see Aces come in at the 5th spot in the WNBA. Not only did they come in at the 5th spot in the WNBA, but they also rank 3rd in the Western Conference, which is huge to see. Now, when you look at their record, they have a record of 19 wins and 14 losses. That's a 57.6% win percentage, and also 11-5 from home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. Now, they face off against none other than Phoenix Mercury, where Phoenix Mercury has done a great job coming in at the 4th spot in the WNBA. So a little bit of similarities there. Obviously, they do have a record of 19 wins and 12 losses, a 61.3% win percentage. They're also 11-5 from home, 8-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at this, we do also see when we look at both these teams ranking wise, they are somewhat similar and also in the same conference. So it is definitely going to be an intense battle between both of these teams. But looking at Phoenix Mercury defensively, we do know Mercury do come in at the 4th spot when it comes to points allowed, 7th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also do see that they come in at the 10th spot. So, unfortunately, looking at this, we do see when it comes to NaLyssa Smith and the Las Vegas Aces, they do actually, do a pretty poor job at restricting rebounds and assists. A little bit better in points, but still not really too good on rebounds and assists. But coming into this matchup, we do actually like the over for someone like NaLyssa Smith. And the reason why is because when we actually look on a per position basis, we actually see a very different story. We do actually see when it comes to NaLyssa and also her position at the forward position, we do see Phoenix Mercury do actually a very poor job at restricting restricting, points, rebounds, and assists to NaLyssa's position. So we definitely are expecting her to be able to take advantage of this and going on the over in this one. Now, NaLyssa has a great usage rate, definitely a little bit higher in points and rebounds. So I think just overall and more in general, it probably would be good to focus on those two. But when we look at it even further, we also do see when it actually comes to, NaLyssa Smith, when you look at her last 5 games, she definitely had some pretty big matchups. We see on the 4th face-off against Golden State Valkyries, actually had a 101-77, win in that matchup. And in that matchup actually had 4 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. After that, actually faced off against Golden State Valkyries again off a back-to-back on the 7th, had 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 0 assists there with a 78-72 win. Then on the 9th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had a 90-86 win with 10 points, 12 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, on the 11th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 94-86 win with 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists. And then 6 points, 6 rebounds, 0 assists again against New York Liberty this time with an 83-77 win. And that was actually on the 14th. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, there are times where we have seen NaLyssa Smith do a fantastic job in certain, situations and against certain matchups. And we are expecting, that same things to happen again against Phoenix Mercury, as they do a pretty poor job against her position there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for NaLyssa Smith. As I always mention, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is under our averages, then definitely look to go on the over.